Initializing.
To control digital pins, we have three available functions. You go to Help, Reference. We'll see all three of them under the digital IO header. So digital read will mean we're going to read volts from the pin. So something what we've brought on the pin and we will read it. That will only be a 1 or a 0. So it will mean either 0 volts or 3.3 volts, because that is how digital work. Digital signal can either be on or off, 3.3 volt or 0 volt. So it's either or situation of it can be 0 or 1. Digital write, on the other hand, means we're going to put either 0 volts to the pin, so we did nothing, or we're going to put 3.3 volts onto that pin. Once there's 3.3 volts from that pin, it can light up something like an LED. When mode, you should remember from the microcontroller lessons, a pin can either be an input or an output. An input would mean there's stuff coming in, so we're going to read that, right? Or stuff going out, which is an output, meaning we're going to send balls somewhere. So let's start off by looking at digital read. And we want to read something from 8-pin. I have a old spreadsheet, a PDF available. You can download it in the lesson 2, and you'll see that there's quite a few components and then the pin numbers or the trading board. The only one we can use is the push button, simply because none of the others can be used to read digital signals from. And how they are, you can read from, but it's analog, so you can get any value between 0 and 3.3 volt. The same with a potentiometer. Buzzer, you send voltages to, lets you send voltages to. So not one of them will be able to be used in this lesson. And the push button, and it's pin 0. So now what we have to do is to create a variable to keep the value of our push button. And let's call this variable button. And I'm not going to assign any value to it. We'll assign it once the program runs. And all I have to do here is to say, type the value from digital read and put it into the variable. Well, but that so far so good. Everything looks nice. But I would like to add some functionality to it. And I want to say, send me the value of the button via serial monitor. To do that, we first have to start up serial monitor. And you do it by COSA serial.begin. We can see all these different options that is available. So serial.begin will start your serial monitor. It starts sending messages that you program to your computer serial. Now, for an interesting sake, you can see that we have a baud rate, and what that means, that is the speed at which the microcontroller and your PC will communicate with one another. So they need to be exactly the same. This guy is 57600. Because if they're not the same, you will not see anything or just a lot of garbage on the screen because they are not in sync. The next thing we can do is then to say print the value of button for us. And you do that with serial.print. You can just use serial.print, or you can say make a new line after the first print was done, so we can keep on creating new lines for you. And what do we want to print? We want to print the value inside the button variable. So if I look at that, that all looks quite nice. I don't oath. There's a mistake. It's not in or integer in button And if we now go to serial monitor, you can see how it writes the little ones. If I press the button, zeros, one, press, release, press, release. So that works fine. But there's one thing, it's running very, very fast, right? So we can put the delay in, and the delay takes milliseconds. So 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds. I'm going to change this to 200 milliseconds. This means the program will run a little bit slower. All right, so now that we have this, I'm quite happy that we can move on to digital. And what we will want to do is we want to put voltage maybe on an LED to make the LED switch on and then make them maybe off again. So let's go back to our PDF. The LEDs is on pin P to 14 and also 21. Let's use 21. All right, so that is good. Pin 21 will be used, but still we haven't said what should happen. Should the pin be high? Which means, should it have a voltage on it? High will mean there'll be 3.3 volt on the pin. And we can probably take the delay and rather put it here. Just want to copy this how line and make it low. So what's going to happen in this code is that it will print to serial the button status for 0 or a 1. Then it will light up an LED by 200 milliseconds, and then take voltage away from the pin, meaning the LED will go down. And we're going to make it wait again for 200 milliseconds. And it will then start all over again. So before we do anything else, let's just tell the microcontroller what pin mode pin number 21 is. Because we're sending data out of the pin to the microcontroller, it's an output. Right, now that we have that, let's run it and see what happened. So I'm going to upload it first, of course. So it's nearly finished compiling, but while it finishes up, we're going to, not in the next lesson, but the lesson after, we're going to start looking at the if statement. And what the if statement will do is allow us to connect buttons with LEDs, as an example. And what I mean is, what we will want to do is something like, if button is pressed, light up LED. So that's one of the ways that we can use control structures to control button presses, LEDs, and very much anything else that is connected to your microcontroller. So let's see if it's working. I look at my board, you can look at yours too, and I see that last LED is blinking. Let's go to serial monitor. And I'm going to press the button. And I see there's the zeros. I'm going to release it. There's the ones again. And yeah, it all works fine. So let's move on to the next lesson.
Initializing.